My Independent Study Guide Booklet, Grade 6, Chapter 12, Statistical Displays. In this video, we will be going over the answers to this booklet. Chapter 12, Lesson 1, Question 1. Use the line plot to find the median. The median is the middle number. Remember, the I helps us remember middle because I is in middle and in median. So let's list our data from least to greatest so we can find the middle number. We have a 50, then we have 52, 52, 55, 56, 56, 56, 58, 58, 59, and 60. We're going to double check by counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We have an odd number of data points, which means we will have a middle number. I'm going to go left, 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 right, 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 left, left, right, right, and my middle number is 56, which is answer choice C. Question 2. Use the line plot to find the mode. Mode is the data point that happens the most often, or the data value that happens the most often. And most has an L, and mode has an L. Well, the data point that happens the most often is the tallest, and in this case, it would be 56, which is answer choice B. Now remember to count your intervals, so it would be 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60. Always double check because they could count by 1 or they could count by 2. In this case, they are counting by 1, so this line right here does in fact represent 56. Question 3. Use the line plot to find the range. The range is the maximum value that has occurred minus the minimum. In this case, we have the highest value that has appeared is 60, and the lowest is 50, which is a difference or a range of 10, and that's answer choice A. Question number 4. Use the line plot to find the median. The median, again, has an I in it, and that helps us remember that it is the middle number. So we have 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're going to start with a value of 8, and there are 2 8s, 2 9s, 1 11, 1 12, 3 13s, and 1 15. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 values. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 values. Because we have an even number of data points, we will not have an exact middle, so we'll have to figure that out when we get there. I'm going to go 3 to the left, 3 to the right, then left, left, right, right, and my middle is right here. So I have to figure out what's exactly between 11 and 12. Well, halfway between 11 and 12 is 11 and a half. And that's answer choice B. Question number 5. Use the line plot to find the mode. The mode is the most often occurring, and that would be right here, the tallest one, and remember O, O. And we have 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So each line is 1, 10, 11, 12, 13. So 13 is the mode. Now you may have more than one mode, or no mode at all. In this example, we just had one mode. Chapter 12, Lesson 2, Number 1. The table shows the heights of U.S. presidents. Which is a histogram of the data? Heights and frequencies. For the interval of 63 inches to 65 inches, we're looking for a frequency of 1. That is our first bar. So in graph A, we have 1. In graph B, we have 19. So that disqualifies graph B. In graph C, we have 1. And in graph D, we have 1. For an interval of 66 to 68, we're looking for a frequency of 9. And for graph A, we have 9. Graph C, we have 18, which means graph C cannot be the correct answer. And in graph D, we also have 9. For intervals of 69 inches to 71 inches, we're looking for a frequency of 14. In graph A, we have 14, and in graph D, we have 14. For an interval of 72 inches to 74, we have a frequency of 18, and we have that in graph A shows 18, and graph D shows 18. For a height of 75 inches to 77 inches, we're looking for a frequency of 1, and graph A shows 1, and graph D shows 1. So at this time, it looks like graph A and graph D are the same. However, if we look at the labels, we'll notice that they are labeled differently. In A, the y-axis or the vertical axis is labeled heights. In graph D, the vertical axis or y-axis is labeled frequency. For A, the x-axis or horizontal axis is labeled frequency. And for D, it is labeled heights. The one that matches our graph is graph D. Notice for A, the height goes from 0 to 20, but in our graph, we're going from 63 to 77. So this is labeled incorrectly. So your correct answer is D. Question number 2. Which frequency table matches the histogram below? So our title is Number of Books Students Own. And when we look here, I can see that nobody owns between 20 and 23. So that's pretty drastic. So I'm going to look in each of these 20 to 23. Now, do you notice how look how A's values are kind of flip-flopped, okay? So A right away is incorrect because the number of books is 0 and the frequency is 20 to 23. So this A is already not going to work. So let's look at B. B has 15 people owning 20 to 23 books, and that's not true. So B's out. C has 0 people owning 20 to 23 books, so that's true. And D has 1 person owning 20 to 23 books, and that's not true. So that's out. Now let's just make sure C is our correct answer. So, owning 8 to 11 books is 17 people. Is that true? Yes, 17. Owning 12 to 15 books is 11 people. Is that true? Yes. Owning 16 to 19 is 9 people. Yes. And we already said that this is 0. Owning 24 to 27, is that 15 people? And that is true, 15 people. So it is answer choice C. Question 3. Make a histogram to show the number of hours people in the survey slept. Now, it says to make a histogram, but it does appear that they've already made the histogram. So I think we're just going to pick out which histogram we want to use. So the number of hours of sleep, our choices are between 4 and 5, 6 and 7, 8 and 9, and 10 and 11. All right, so between 4 and 5, 6 people. All right, so this is 6, so that's good. This is 6, that's good. This is 8, no good. And this is 16, no good. All right, between 6 and 7 hours of sleep, we have 17 people. All right, this is 17, so that's good. This is 17, so that's good. All right, between 8 and 9 hours of sleep, we have 13. So this is 13, that's good. And this is 13, that's good. And then here we have between 10 and 11 is 5. And this is good, and this is good. Now, we have two choices, A and B. So what is our problem here? Because it looks like they're the same chart. Well, here is our problem, okay? Notice how this one says frequency and then number of hours of sleep. And this one says numbers of hours of sleep and frequency. So which is correct? Well, A is the one that is correct, okay? Because we have frequency here, okay? Question 4. The graph below shows the number of minutes spent on the phone. What conclusion cannot be made about the data in the graph? Before we start, I'm going to label each bar. 9 calls were made that were 0 to 5 minutes. 5 calls were made that were between 6 and 10 minutes. 19 calls were made that were between 11 and 15 minutes. 16 calls were made that were between 16 and 20 minutes. And 20 calls were made that were between 21 and 25 minutes. So let's take a look at question or statement A. 19 calls were made that were between 16 and 20 minutes. That would be this column right here. Is that true? That is not true. "14 calls were made that were 10 minutes or less." Well, 10 minutes or less would be from here to here. So we would add 9 plus 5, and that equals 14. So that is a true statement. Statement, that was B. Okay, C. There were a total of 69 calls made. If I add 20 plus 16 plus 19 plus 5 plus 9. Okay, 6 plus 5 equals 11, and 9 plus 9 equals 18. And if I add those together, I get 29. 2 plus 2 plus 1 plus 1 is 6, and that equals 69, so that is a true statement. And D, the interval with the fewest number of calls is 6 to 10, and that's right here, and that is true. So what conclusion cannot be made about the data in the graph? Conclusion A. The frequency table shows the ages of the people attending a family reunion. Which histogram correctly and completely shows the data? Now, when we look, I notice right away that we have titles on 3 of the 4 graphs. Graph D has no title. So I can eliminate graph D because that is not a complete graph. I notice that A and C have the x-axis labeled and the y-axis labeled, but graph B does not have labels for the axes, so that eliminates B. Now, instead of focusing on 4 choices, I can just focus on 2. The titles are ages of people at the family reunion, ages of people at the family reunion, so they match. All right, so let's take a look at the data. So we're looking at ages and number of players. Now, it looks like a typo here for the people. It should be people, but we're going to let that go. All right, 9 years old, 36 players. Chapter 12, Lesson 3. Question 1. Which box and whisker plot represents the data? In order for us to look at the data, we're going to first put the data in order from least to greatest. So we have an 18, a 16, 21, 24, 27 and 29, 30, 34, 35, and 42. We're going to find the median, which is the middle number. So we go left, 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 right, 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 left, right, left, right, and here we have our middle number. There is no number here, so we have to think what is between 27 and 29, which is 28. So our median is 28, and if you notice here, for every single graph, they have the median as 28. So now we're going to find quartile 1, which means that we have to find the median of the lower half. So we're going to go left, left, right, right, and here is our middle number. So this is going to be quartile 1. We're going to do the same thing on the right half. So we go left, left, right, right, and this is our, which will be quartile 3. And then I would be drawing a box here. All right. So quartile 1 needs to be 21, and quartile 1 is here, and it's 21, and 21, and 21, and 21. Quartile 3 is 34, so for all of them, we have 34 for quartile 3. Okay. So all of the boxes match. The only thing that's different are the whiskers. So what we have to do here is, if you notice that some of the whiskers, like for B, I have a whole whisker and a dot, a whole whisker and a dot. But for A, I have an outlier, and for C, I have 2 outliers, and for D, I have 1 outlier, okay? So I'm going to erase what I just wrote there, but if you notice, that is the difference between the graphs, are how they do the whiskers. So we're going to have to compute to see if there's any outliers. Now, the formula for the outlier is quartile 3 take away quartile 1 times 1.5. All right, and then we have to add that to quartile 3 and quartile 1. So quartile 3 is 34, and quartile 1 is 21, so we're going to take away that. 4 take away 1 is 3, and 3 take away 2 is 1. So we have 13 times 1.5. 5 times 3 is 15, carry the 1. 5, 6, add a 0, 13. So I have 5, 18, or sorry, 6, 7, 8, 9. Sorry, that's 9. I'm multiplying here. Sorry. 9, 1. So that's 19.5. Now I'm going to add 19.5. Change my color. I'm going to add 19.5 to 34. And I'm going to subtract 19.5 from 21. Okay, so we have 34 plus 19.5. Okay, so an outlier would be anything at 53.5 and more is considered an outlier. So 42 is not an outlier. All right, now I'm going to do 21.0, take away 19.5. Which is 1.5. So anything at 1.5 or less is an outlier. Okay, so 16 is not an outlier and 42 is not an outlier. Now in A, they show 16 as an outlier. So this graph is incorrect. For C, they show 42 as an outlier and 16 as an outlier, so that is incorrect. For D, they show 42 as an outlier, so that is incorrect. The correct answer is answer choice B, where just the ends of the whiskers are 16 and 42. They're included in the whiskers because they're not outliers. Question number 2. Which box and whisker plot represents the data? First, we're going to put the data in order. So I have 33, 33, and 33. So I'm going to write that down. 33, 33, 33. Now I have 44. Oops, nope, I have 36. And then I have 42. Then I have 44. Then I have 50. And then I have 51. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. So let's find our median. Left, left, left. Right, right, right. And we're going to be right in the middle here. All right. So what's between 36 and 42? So I'm going to do 42 plus 36, 78. Now I'm going to do 78 divided by 2. Equals 39. So my median number is 39. So I need to look for a graph that has 39 as my median. A has 39 as a median. B has 39 as a median. C has 39 as a median. But D has 42 as a median. So I can eliminate that as one of my answer choices. All right. I'm going to erase my work here. Just give me space. And now I'm going to find quartile 1. So I have left, left, right, right, right here in the middle. What's between 33 and 33? 33. And then I go left, left, right, right. And then I have 50 and 44. And 94 divided by 2 is 47. All right, so now we're going to look for quartile 1 and quartile 3. And just so you know, this is quartile 2, but it's the median. So quartile 1 is 33. So A is 33, but B is 36. So I'm going to eliminate that. And C is 36. So I'm going to eliminate that. Now let's make sure that A is the correct choice. We're looking for quartile 3 as a 47, and yep, it's 47. Now, the minimum is 33, and here we have 33 as a minimum. And our maximum is 51, and we have 51 as our maximum. So answer choice A is correct. Question number 3. Which box and whisker plot represents the data? First, we're going to list the data from least to greatest. 77, 82, 83, 85, 87, 90, or 88, and 98. And we're going to check. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, so we're going to find our median value first. Left to left, right, right, left, right, middle. Okay. So 85 is our median value. And for A, they have 85 as the median. B, 85 as the median. C, 85 as the median. And D, 85 as the median. All right, so we're going to find the median of the lower half, left, right, center. 82 is quartile 1. For A, they have 83 listed as quartile 1, so that is no longer a choice. For B, they have 82, C 82, and D 82. We're going to find the median of the upper half of our data, left, right, center, and that will be quartile 3. And for B, they have 88 for quartile 3, C 88, and D 88. So this is our box. Now for our whiskers, we're going to have 77 and 98, but we need to decide whether or not these are outliers. Are these just going to be part of the whiskers, or are they in fact outliers? To do this, we have quartile 3 take away quartile 1 times 1.5. So we have 88, subtract 82, which equals 6. Now we multiply that by 1.5, which equals 9. So I'm going to add 9 to quartile 3, and I'm going to subtract 9 from quartile 1. So 88 plus 9 equals 97. So 97 and up is an outlier. So this means that 98 is an outlier. When I look at graph B, 98 is an outlier. When I look at graph C, 98 is an outlier. When I look at graph D, 98 is not an outlier. So I'm going to cross that off as a choice. Now, I'm going to look at 82. 82, subtract 9, is 73. So everything 73 or less is an outlier. Okay? So 77 is not an outlier. For B, they show it as an outlier. So B is not correct. For C, they show it as part of the whisker. 77 is part of the whisker. So that is okay. Answer choice C is correct. Question number 4. Which box and whisker plot represents the data? First we have 25, 25. Then we have 27, 28. 30, 32. 38, 41. 50 and 65. All right, next we find the median by figuring out our center number. Left, 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 right, 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 left, right, left, right, middle. What's between 30 and 32? Well, it's 31. So quartile 2, or our median, is 31. In graph A, they have it listed as 38, so that would not be a good graph. For graph B, they have 31. For graph C, they have 31. For graph D, they have 31. Let's find the middle of the lower half. Left, left, right, right, middle. 27 is our middle. So that is quartile 1. Graph B has 27 for quartile 1. Graph C has 27. Graph D has 25, so that is eliminated. Let's find the middle of the upper half. Left, left, right, right, middle. So 41 is quartile 3. All right, for B, 41 is quartile 3. C, we have quartile 3 as 41 as well. So both B and C have quartile 3 as 41. Okay, now, as we look at B and C and compare, they both have 25 as their minimums, okay? And that would be true because 25 is the minimum. Now, for B, they have 65 listed as an outlier, and for C, they have 65 just listed as part of the whisker. So what we need to do is to decide, is 65 an outlier? Outlier. All right, so I'm going to draw my box here. Okay, and it's quartile 3 minus quartile 1. Quartile 3 is 41 minus quartile 1, which is 27. I'm going to borrow. 11 take away 7 is 4. 3 take away 2 is 1. Now I'm going to multiply 14 times 1.5. So we multiply that times 1.5. 20, 7, 0, 14, 0, 2. So it's 21. So I'm going to, now I would subtract 21. So 27 subtract 21 is 6. So anything less than 6 is an outlier. But in both of our graphs, they had already indicated that 25 was not an outlier. So I didn't need to do that, but I just showed it to you anyway. Then I need to add 21 to 41 is 62. So everything above 62, including 62, is an outlier. 65 is above 62, so it is an outlier. This is shown in graph B. So graph B has the correct illustration of the box and whisker plot for the data shown. Question number 5. Which box and whisker plot represents the data? First, we need to list the data in order from least to greatest. We'll start off with 1, and then 5, then 12 and 13. Oh, wait, we have two 12s. 12, 12, 13, 14, 16, 17, 18, 18, 22, 25. All right, now let's find the median. Left, 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 right, 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 left, left, right, right, left, right, middle. So 15 is going to be our median number. And in graph A, they have 15, graph B, 15, graph C, 15, and graph D, 15. Let's find the middle of the lower half. Left, 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 right, 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 middle. So that's going to be 12 for quartile 1. And A has 12 for quartile 1. So does B, so does C, and so does D. All right, let's find the middle of the upper half. 1, left, 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 right, 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 and quartile 3 is what's between 18 and 18? 18. And quartile 3 for A is 18. Same with B, C, and D. Okay. Now, if we look at the graphs, they have the minimum here for A is 1, and B is 1, and C is 1, and D is 1. And the maximum, 25, 25, 25, and 25. So we're going to need to find out if there is an outlier. So to do this, we have to do quartile 3, take away quartile 1, times 1.5. So 18 minus 12 equals 6. And we have 1.5 times 6, which equals 9. So I'm going to do 12 minus 9 and 18 plus 9. 12 minus 9 is 3, and 18 plus 9 is 27. So 27 and up is an outlier, and 3 and below is an outlier. So the only data that we have that qualifies for an outlier is 1. And that is represented in graph A. Oops, graph A. Graph A has 1 as an outlier and 25 is part of the whisker. For B, they have 1 and 25 both as outliers. In C, 1 is not an outlier, but 25 is. And in D, neither are outliers. Chapter 12, Lesson 4, Question 1. If the left side of a distribution looks like the right side, then the distribution is symmetric. So if this is a graph, and if the left side looks like the right side, it is symmetric. Question 2. The most frequently occurring value is called a peak. You may think mode, but if you're graphing, this would be the mode, but it also is the peak of your data, like a mountain peak. Question number 3. Which set of data has a symmetric distribution? Well, graph A is symmetric because if I folded it in half, quadrant 1 would match up with quadrant 3, and the maximum and minimum, that's minimum, and maximum would match up as well. The other graphs are skewed either positively or negatively. Lesson 4, question 4, which set of data has a gap? That would be B, and the gap is right here. The second interval, which I believe says 30 to 44. Question 5. Which set of data has an outlier? C, right here, 65. Number 2. You can use blank to make predictions about future events by looking for patterns. That would be B. And we're talking about the future, which is time. And remember that line graphs show change over time. Question 2. The line graph shows the average daily temperature for a city. Predict the average temperature in the city for Saturday. Well, it does look like it's falling steadily. So if I just kind of continue the line down, okay, we're talking about anywhere between 36 and 38, so maybe like 37 degrees Fahrenheit-ish. And is that a choice? Yes, it is. Answer choice A. Question 3. Bedagi was told that after a long bicycle ride, he should check his pulse. The graph is of his pulse compared to how many blocks he rode. What will his pulse be after riding 6 blocks? Now his pulse seems to be increasing, so I hope it doesn't get too much higher. That might be a bad thing. So hopefully it levels out at some point, but if he stays with this pattern, it should be somewhere between 160 and 200. And so it's going to be way less than 300, higher than 120, a little higher than this is 160, higher than 160, so we're going to go with 190. Question 4. The line graph shows the time it takes Kyle to climb the steps of the Statue of Liberty. Predict the total time it will take him to climb 354 steps to the top of the statue if his rate remains approximately the same. Well, he's doing really good if he can climb at a consistent rate the whole time without getting tired, but maybe he trained. Okay, so 350 would be here, so a little bit above, so we're talking about right here. So 15, I guess they're talking about 15, 16 minutes. Okay, so we're going to go 16 minutes, B. The Pacific giant kelp plant is one of the fastest growing plants in the world. The table shows the growth of one plant. Predict what the height of the plant will be in 1 week. All right, so in 7 weeks, it went from 1.3 to 9.4. So that is a difference of 8.1. So if I compare weeks to growth, in 7 weeks, it grew 8.1. Okay, and we want to know in 10 weeks how much will it have grown. So we can do 10 divided by 7 equals 1.4. So 8 times 1.4 equals 11.2. And so we're going to add that 1.3 plus 11.2 equals 12.5, which is answer choice D. Chapter 12, Lesson 6, Question 1. Which display makes it easiest to compare the heights of the largest national champion trees? A, B, C, or D? Now, I'm going to eliminate C right away because for a line graph shows change over time. And this makes it look like one tree grew and then shrank and then grew and then shrank and then grew and then shrank and then grew. These are each individual trees, so they should not be connected with a line. Now, D is a bar graph, and it's good. This would be okay. Okay, that's okay. These are all okay graphs. Now, this is really a chart. B is actually a chart. Now, I'm eliminating B because it's not really in order from least to greatest. The numbers are mixed up. So our choices are really A and D. Now, I prefer A because you can see that there's a cluster here, there's a gap here, a smaller gap here, and then another cluster here. I can't really see that with graph D. It's at least hard to see that. Okay, so we're going to go with answer choice A. Question 2, basketball. Which display allows you to see whether the record for the girls' basketball team has improved since 2000? Now, improved since 2000. This would be an example of change over time. And that is best illustrated with a line graph, which is answer choice C. And by connecting these points, we can see that it improved, then they did worse, and then now, since 2003, they are improving once again. And now they've done better than they had done in any of the years past. So this would be a good graph to represent their record and how it has improved since 2000. Question 3. A blank is a display that shows frequency of data that has been divided into intervals of equal size. That would be a histogram, B. Question 4, elections. The table shows the number of students who voted for each candidate for class president, which is an appropriate type of display to compare the number of votes for each candidate. In this particular situation, I would go with a bar graph. Now, they don't actually list this here, but a circle graph would also be good too, or a pie chart. Question 5, population. The table shows the population of Fort Worth, Texas, which is an appropriate type of display to determine how the population has changed since 1950. The population has changed since 1950. This is change over time, which is best illustrated with a line graph. Answer choice C.